Okay guys, so I gotta start the video out first of all by, you guys just saw the map of my fan bases, and I gotta give a shout out to Belgrade, Serbia, and Prague, Czech Republic. You guys are emerging with a lot more fans, and obviously you see the Aussies killing it on there, the Finns, Helsinki, Finland killing it. Appreciate all you guys, all the support. Thank you very much, every one of you. Now, what you guys came for the video for, you want to see what my test results were. So this was the blood work after 60 days after my last shot of testosterone, and I haven't come off in 9 years up to this point. This was the first time. So about half that time, that 9-year period, I was cycling, half that period I was cruising. So what you see here, 60 days off. Now let's get down to it. Test results, total testosterone. Where was it at? Was it at 400? No, it was not. Okay, was it lower? Yes. Was it at 300? No, it was not. Lower. Was it at 200? Surely 200. No. Okay, well, 150. No. Now we're getting down into the female ranges pretty soon here. Was it at 100? No, it was not. Okay, was it at 50? Were my test levels at 50 nanograms per deciliters? No, they were not. They were at 38. My test levels right now are at 38 ng per dl, nanograms per deciliters, which is freaking terrible. And actually, Derek from More Plates, More Dates, he's done some videos on people where he, there was one fake natty guy who had a 21 level, but he was cut to shreds. So I don't know anything about the guy, but I looked at that video and his pictures. There's no way he's natty because he was diced, had decent muscle mass. He had those cuts I was talking about and everything, and the shape. But he was at 21. And then he also had a video Derek did of guys at like 14. So, but that was a natural pituitary disorder. So there's a couple that are lower than me, but I think I'm like top 10 in the world for lowest testosterone. But so I've kind of had some time to think about what I want to do here. And I think I'm going to continue to stay off for another 2 months at least and reassess things there, get another lab panel done after 4 months and see where we're at, see if anything's coming back. I'm going to do a little more HMG and see if I can bring things up, because my FSH bounced back a little, but my LH really didn't much at all. So I'm going to try some more HMG, see if I can bring it back. And in the meantime, I mean, yesterday I pulled 633, 287.5 kilos for 4 reps, and I could have 5. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy that I can even pull that with 38 test levels, which are that of a female. So I think right now, honestly, I think I could pull 705. I think I could pull 320 kilos with 38 test levels. But I think what I'll do, I'm going to try to set a goal of getting to a 750 deadlift with no testosterone in my body and see how that goes. Bench is so iffy because my rotator cuff might be fully torn right now. I'm really not sure. I need an MRI done. I can still kind of bench, but it gets really aggravated and feels terrible. So bench is harder to gauge how it's doing because my right arm is so unstable, feels terrible. The other thing I got to point out, now there's an article that ties into what these results were. So there's an article I put up called the top 5 things I wish I would have done differently with regards to anabolics. So I'm going to link that article in the description and as well in the comments. Check that article out. It's the 5 biggest things I would have changed about how I went about getting started with stuff and the mistakes I've made. So that's a really informative article. Check that out. But yeah, I think I'll try to push for a 750 deadlift. And if I can get to there, I might try to push for 800 with no test levels at all. So I'm literally below natural. Here's the thing, way below natural. My levels right now are 22 times lower than they were when I was lifetime natty. So when I was lifetime natty, I had my test levels measured when I was 19 years old. And when I was 19 years old, lifetime natty, my total testosterone was 832. So 832, right now I'm at 38. 22 times lower than at that point. And at that point, I pulled 740 on a stiff bar. So I'd like to surpass my natural PR that I hit when I was lifetime natty with 22 times less testosterone. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to do a little breakdown here coming up. You're going to see the whole panel of all the health results, not just testosterone. I'm going to go through everything. So check that out. Check out my website, subscribe. comment. I tried to get back to everybody in the comments of the last video. Try to respond to all of you. So I appreciate the support big time. You guys are what watch my videos make this happen. So thank you. Hey guys, so here we are with the lab results. This is 60 days after the last shot of testosterone, and obviously you know what the testosterone levels were, but I'm going to break down everything. Nothing here is out of the normal range. Everything's in pretty good shape. Really happy with it. Fasted glucose was 89. So honestly, I've had this as low as 69, which is really good, but 89 still well within the normal range. A couple other notable factors. Kidney functions. Let's look at kidney functions. Creatinine. Creatinine is probably the biggest one. 1.19. The lowest I've ever had with that is like 1.14. So I'm going to try a kidney cleanser for a month, and I'm going to see if I can get that even lower. Not that it's bad now at all, but I'm going to see if this kidney cleanser, how good it is. Test run it for you from Leviathan Nutrition and see how well that works. So I'll keep you posted. BUN, that was 20, which I'm typically like 19, 20 on that, so that's pretty good. GFR, 82, that's good. Those are the most notable things. Let's go down to liver enzymes, AST, ALT, 40 and 48. Those are good. Obviously, one thing is the more you weigh, the higher your creatinine is typically going to be. And then if you're training hard or really breaking your body down, your liver enzymes and kidney functions will tend to rise. So even if AST and ALT are slightly elevated, that's not a big deal. Like that's pretty normal, unless you're doing like no training. So right there, you see it, obviously, the 38 testosterone level, which is horrendous. It's just crazy to me that it's that low, because I did a post-psychotherapy, took everything, HCG, HMG, Clomid, Novadex, and it just didn't bounce back at all. So that's kind of interesting. Estradiol is below 15, so estrogen's in range. That's all under control. And then we got FSH 2.6, LH 1.2. So even though it says FSH is in the normal range, I'm really cold right now, by the way. Oh, even though it says FSH is in the normal range, 2.6 is pretty low. So it bounced back a little, but not great. Hematocrit 45. Typically, I'm like 49 to 51, somewhere in that range. Hematocrit and hemoglobin are your red blood cells, how thick your blood is. You don't want them too high, but you don't want them too low either. So 45 is as low as I would want it. Then we got a bunch of this stuff. It's not quite as important. Now, this does not have lipid panel on it with my cholesterol levels. I'm guessing they're in pretty good range, but I'd be real curious to see where those are at. So let's compare this to a lab panel from 6.5 years ago when I was 23 years old. So this was 23 years old. I believe I was on 250 milligrams of testosterone a week. You can see hematocrit's quite a bit higher, 49. Obviously, the more testosterone you have in your body, your blood's going to be thicker, your hematocrit's going to be higher. So you see that there. You can see this looks a little different. Glucose 83, so it was what, 89 now? So it's about the same. BUN was 17, whereas now it's 20. So I mean, those are pretty much the same. I'm not too worried about that. Creatinine 1.17 compared to 1.19 now, about the same. GFR 87 compared to 82, about the same. And then AST and ALT 43 and 42, about the same. So you can see all my health parameters were basically identical on 250 milligrams a week of testosterone to what they are now, which is why hormone replacement therapy isn't bad for your health. Testosterone itself in doctor clinical dosages is not bad for you. It doesn't negatively affect your health parameters. It's when things get abused and when people add in anabolic steroids that it wreaks havoc on their health parameters. So the only difference here between being off testosterone completely and being on testosterone was the hematocrit levels were about 4 points higher. And then obviously the testosterone levels are way different because look here, we're off the charts. We're over 1,500 on the testosterone. So this one was not, there's two types of testosterone tests, and this one was not one that recorded it over 1,500. So I know that 125 milligrams a week puts me at about 1,490 testosterone. So I was probably 2,000 plus here, maybe 2,500 from 250 a week. Now, note this too. This is very interesting. LH and FSH were basically nothing. So my LH was 0.1 compared to now we're at 1.2. So LH rebounded a little bit, but really not much at all. and then FSH 0.2, less than 0.2, and now we're up to 2.6. So that tells me the HMG did a little bit. I ran 7 bottles of HMG, 75 IUs, and that rebounded my FSH a little bit. But I don't know, the HCG didn't seem to really get the LH coming back, so that's concerning. That's the new test, new panel. We'll go down a little more here. Estradiol, I was not on an estrogen blocker. My estrogen was 150. Compared to now, it's below 15, as you'll see right here, below 15. But the highest I've ever had my estrogen recorded was like 185 when I was on tren. So still quite a bit of a difference. But that's pretty much the breakdown. 23 years old on 250 a week compared to 29 years old on nothing. And yeah, you see it. So those are the main things. Obviously, one other thing here too. My cholesterol levels. This was the old panel when I was 23 on 250 a week. 184 total tests. Triglycerides 105. Typically, my triglycerides are below 100 now, so that's come down a bit. HDL was 37. Highest I've recorded was 50 something was my highest recorded HDL, like 55, or it might have been 60 even. LDL 126, which is about typical for me. And note that they've actually lowered this range. It's 0 to 100 now. But I mean, really, if you're at 120 LDL, that's pretty good, because LDL is mainly genetic, whereas HDL is what is affected by what you're putting into your body. So your LDL will still take a hit if you take anabolic steroids, but what really happens, the biggest thing that gets destroyed is your HDL. Your HDL cholesterol is going to go drop to nothing, basically, no matter what you take. Even if you took something like Anavar, your HDL would drop in half. So if I took Anavar, this would go down to about 18, 19. And then obviously other things, tren and stuff, would make it even lower, 10 or less. So probably jack the LDL up to like 180. But yeah, that's it. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for the support. Shout out to my Finland friends. Shout out to my Aussies. And everybody. Just appreciate the support, guys.